Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Sons and Daughters of Liberty. I have a few things to share. Don't mind my little messed up speech. I just had 8 teeth pulled, and my mouth's still quite sore, so bear with me if I'm not pronouncing certain words as normal. But I do hope everybody's enjoying this new year. 2021's been off to a spectacular start. And yes, for those that know me, I've got a lot to say, but I'm also going to try to get some other people on, just so I can limit my talking because it is kind of painful to ramble too much. So I will also, for anybody that wants to join, I have access to a phone line if you want to call in, or if you actually just want to join me in the gathering app, and you can also do it two ways. One nice thing about the Minds guys, their gathering app works just fine as long as you got a place to stream to. And at the top of the hour, just a reminder that I will have to reset the Minds link, the link in the link, because it'll cut us off at an hour mark, which is cool. It gives us time for everybody to take a little break. You know, there's so many topics. I mean, it's like one of those where to begin. I mean, I'm sure we all know what's going on. I think as we go through this video stream, you're going to begin to understand the price we pay. You know, freedom isn't free. Freedom comes with a cost. Our rights and liberties aren't free. There's a cost to them. You know, our soldiers pay the cost. Believe it or not, even our police officers pay the cost for those freedoms. Everybody, even us citizens, we pay that cost to have our freedoms. And to have them blatantly be taken away the way they're being taken is an outrage. Blatant disrespect to our Constitution. These tech giants pushing their censorship, Congress screaming, censor. Well, any congressman or woman that screams you need to censor somebody, you need to take their freedom of speech away, has violated their number one oath to uphold and protect the Constitution. You know, do I condone or agree with what took place on the 6th? I have my opinions on that. Anybody knows anything about this channel, first thing we preach is using your voice. Your voice is the ultimate tool. That's why our founding fathers put freedom of speech, freedom of expression, very first in the Constitution. It is very important we understand that. There's steps that we take. There's steps that are written out, how far things can go before you just using our voice in protest, expressing ourselves, is no longer the option. And it is very true. So, do I agree with the storming of the Capitol? Well, we got people calling it an insurrection. Well, for one, it can never be an insurrection because we, the people, that's our Capitol building. It ain't the congressman. It ain't the District of Columbia. It isn't the president. It is we, the people's property. We have a right to be in there when they're in session. In fact, we have a due diligence to show ourselves in there, sit in the rotunda, listen. That's was part of the checks and balances. They never have a right to close off the Capitol building to any U.S. citizen because you have a right to sit in Congress, to watch them, to make sure that they're representing you, doing the job that they pledged. Now, I don't agree. The only part I don't agree with what took place was the vandalism and the violence. I actually can kind of commend and the police that actually stood aside and let people walk in because they were upholding and doing their job because you have the right as we citizens of the United States to partake in the Capitol building. I wanted to get that out of the way. You know, because I think it's important we understand. You know, Abraham Lincoln, as you can see that comment. We the people are the rightful masters of both Congress and the courts, not to overthrow the Constitution, but to overthrow the men who pervert the Constitution. That's why I preach, know your history. Remember your history. Our history is the most important thing. When we forget the aspects of history, like the aspects that the Capitol building belongs to we the people, not the Congress, that they're not even supposed to go behind closed doors. They have tried to make amendments and change laws to violate the very Constitution that our founding fathers set forth for all of us. Benjamin Franklin. Whoever would overthrow the liberty of a nation must begin by subduing the freeness of speech. For the last 4 years, now going into 5, we've seen this. But now, for most of the Congress and our reps, now it's okay for the tech giants to censor. Remove this content. And Gab, you can go fuck yourself. You're not a free speech platform. You got caught. Then when you posted that tweet that was kind of threatening, and I can't stand Cernovich anyway, but your tweet was kind of threatening to him, calling him a coward, this and that. But you did admit one thing, that you removed people from your platform. You were busted during Charlottesville. He was busted before that. I've got videos on it, documenting it. And I didn't know about this last one, so I'm glad you pointed it out. Then you're so scared of the truth, Gab, that you removed the tweet. You're no better than the rest. For all you people running to all these different platforms, they're all the same. When I see bullshit, I'm going to call bullshit. When I see a flat out lie, I'm going to call it. Don't care who it is. When the president said some shit that he shouldn't have, I was first one to speak against it because it is our due diligence as we the people, as citizens of the United States, to be the checks and balance of our officials. We're not supposed to fear them. When we fear them, they have complete control over us. I'm getting tired of all this crap, all this division that they're trying to sell. Now they're actually no better than what Hitler did, going after singling out people from groups. Oh, you're part of MAGA. You're this, you're that, you're this label. We're going to see why I preach against not having labels. Because they can use it against you and divide you. They play it all the time. It's their favorite game. The label game's the favorite, most easy tactic. You're a Christian, you're a Muslim, you're a Catholic, you're a Baptist. And they use all those labels to pit us against each other when we're supposed to be brothers and sisters. All of us. We're all supposed to be Americans. We're supposed to unite under that commonality. You know, I know my days are numbered on various platforms, but here's my stance on this, and I made it very clear on Twitter. I will not be leaving Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, or any other site that I am on. I will stand and fight like I have always done, just like my founding fathers, John and Edward Rutledge, did. When they told John to abandon that fort and pull his troops back, he said no. They can't take this fort. Their cannons can't penetrate these walls. And guess what? He didn't abandon that fort, and the British did not take that fort because their cannonballs could not penetrate that. That was one of our founding fathers, my legacy, direct descendant of, signer of the Constitution. Know your history. I will not surrender any of my freedoms or liberties to anyone. And push comes to shove, I will do whatever in my power needs to be to keep them and fight for them. If it means you suspend me and I take you to civil court, yeah, fuck you. I'm going to civil. I'm going after your money. I'm going after where it hurts. And don't worry. Once I do that, I'll also go after violating my constitution. You know, we all got to take a stand. You nuke me, I'm coming right back. You're going to have to ban my IP address, which they can do. For those that don't know, I've got videos on it. Wikipedia banned my IP because I challenged them on stuff. And then I found out the ugly truth about Wikipedia. You know, I keep telling everybody there's no such thing as a free speech platform anymore. Parler, they were given 24 hours to remove content, take stuff down, remove people. I know they went down for a few for like couple hours last night. I don't know. I'm not on Parler, so I don't know if they removed anybody. But they're up. It's taking a little bit to get to the websites. But right, that's something you guys need to look for. If they did, you need to call them on it. We got to draw the line. Well, they drew the line for us, so they crossed the line. Now it's time for us to use all these tools we have, whether it be the Minds, Gab, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere. Because believe me, I'm pretty much everywhere. I'm not on Parler because back when it first came out, it was as much like Gab. It was a pain in the ass to get on. And I haven't left Facebook, YouTube. I'm not going to. This is where I've chosen to take my stand. We've seen D Live come out, suspending people, removing content, giving them an X strike, people X-rated strike. But I was on that when everybody tried to migrate over there anyway. Their terms of service is quite clear. They don't want political content. But they let you guys do it. Why? Because it was making them money. It was growing their platform. Once they get to a certain stage, and they proved it this week, they started nuking people that was using their platform for recording, doing live streams and stuff. You know, I hear people talking about, well, this is Trump's fault. He did this. Well, from everything I've heard, and I wasn't in D.C. and I was being operated on at the time of the stuff that went down, I don't know what speech he gave to the people there. But from what people I've talked to, nowhere did he said commit violence. He said use your voices, and as we go on, I know somebody was there. I might see if I can't get her to join us to get her side of things. We'll see. I got some people already declined, which, can you fault people? People have jobs. They're going to target people that speak out against things with their jobs, especially with their government jobs or other types of jobs. We see them already calling for prosecution for the any congressman or senator or state senator or legislator that participated in that. You know, the bottom line is we cannot allow them to continuously try to strip our freedoms of speech, our freedoms to gather in peaceful protest. The day we give that up, the day they see that is the day we lose this nation's done. You know, and that's something you guys got to understand. No matter what your label is, your political label is, it's all about one thing. It's about our Constitution. It has nothing to do with Republican, Democrat, Independent. Those are just labels. Labels that they use to hide behind as an illusion of power and deception to divide people. The only thing we should care about when it comes to these politicians, have you upheld the Constitution? Have you fought for that Constitution? Or have you tried to strip parts of that Constitution with your rhetoric and trying to bring bills? Did you sign bills that were violated our Constitution? Those are the ones we should never be electing into office. You know, like I tweeted earlier. Where's all the rage and screaming for prosecution against AOC, who committed a federal crime? In her own tweet to her followers, telling people in Georgia to go vote for the Democrats if they want their stimulus bill passed. Because if they win those two seats, they'll take over the Senate. That right there is influencing the election. It's bribery for one. It's illegal. It's a federal crime. But nobody's calling for her head. Nobody's calling for her to be prosecuted. In fact, she's doing all the screaming to prosecute everybody else. Just like Nancy Pelosi. And so many others. You know, I knew the debacle of Wednesday. Pretty much, I knew what was going to happen. Everybody said this, oh no, and it ain't going to happen. One, we never had the numbers to begin with to even pull it off. We had the people out there, but they wanted to use that to also destroy any chance. There's going to be the argument, oh, those are the provocateurs. Those are, you know what? I don't know. Maybe some of them were, but I'm willing to bet majority that went in there weren't. But they were just doing what their constitutional right is, entering a place that belongs to them that they have every right to enter. So no, it was not an insurrection calling it so. It's just wrong to begin with. I mean, we can't even begin to compare the crimes that some of our congressmen and women have committed. The biggest crime is when they try to strip us of our freedom of speech, try to amend our Constitution, which is supposed to be immediate removal from Congress. But we don't have that right, they say. I say they've forgotten their history. I say our founding fathers and presidents after that, even after our founding fathers, were quite clear on that. Hello, Dagger Spells. Long time no see. You know, I've sat here and tried to work with people, find common ground with people, because that's what's needed. No, are we going to agree on everything? Hell no. Which is a good thing. We shouldn't agree on everything. But the one thing we should agree on, which we don't, many of us don't. I'll sit here and say the Constitution is black and white. Somebody else will say the same thing, but when you say a Muslim or a pagan has a right to their religious views, oh no, then it's a whole different story, and that's a problem. There for the longest, people understood what it meant. They understood the importance of unity. I was going through quotes today because I like quotes, especially from people that's made an impact on history. You can't separate peace from freedom because no one can be at peace unless he has his freedom. Malcolm X. This country with its institution belongs to the people who inhabit it. Whenever they shall grow weary of an existing government, they can exercise their constitutional right of amending it, or exercise their revolutionary right to overthrow it. Abraham Lincoln. The cost of freedom is always high, but Americans have always paid it. And one path we shall never choose, and that is the path of surrender or submission. John F. Kennedy. And I think one of my favorite ones, Mark Twain. No man's life, liberty, or property are safe while the legislature is in session. And that was from a whole different era and time when he said that. So many men and women have fought to uphold and protect our freedoms, our liberties. But yet they fight these wars overseas. When I think Franklin said it, someone said it, I can't remember, that the biggest threat is from within. Those who wish to overthrow men by prevent or pervert the Constitution. Okay, you know, we pay a high price for things. We're always on the wrong side of things. Anytime something goes wrong that they can use as a catalyst to strip us of rights, they use. All last year we seen what Antifa, BLM did. That was okay. Well, to BLM and Antifa, I think you should pay attention very closely what transpired this week. Because now they're going to turn on you. You served your purpose. You did their deeds. Now, just like anybody else that they've ever used, they turn on them. And they'll come after you and use you to strip us further of our rights. Sucks to be the pawn, don't it? This ain't going to be one-sided. You know, and I can see why some of those Capitol Police may have stood down and let people through. When Congress openly goes after the police departments, bashes them, tries to strip them of their power, their ability to protect, serve, uphold our Constitution, which is part of their oath. Yeah, I could see why. You guys, they would manage to piss so many people off. And they've been blatant about it this whole time for anybody that actually wanted to sit there and truly open their mind, open their eyes, and see them for what they are. They shed their snake skins and have been open about it this whole for the last 4 years. And now they're deeming anybody that's a MAGA supporter the enemy. The backlash we're going to see from this is going to I can't even say it, guys. Sorry, no front teeth right now. Uh, hmm. I'd put my partial plate in, but it's even worse when I try to talk. It will reverberate. I'll use that word instead of the R word for some time to come. You know, there's so many key talking points. The censorship that's going on now is by far the worst. The mass migration that's going on over to certain platforms that people may not even understood that they've not upheld their end. They haven't upheld freedom of speech. They went after people and deleted people in the past. I'm sorry, you do it once, you'll do it again. In some cases, they've done it twice. Apparently, they did it 3 times when it comes to Gab. D-Live's done it. We brought it up, but nobody wanted to hear it. That was, oh, no, they're not doing that. Well, guess what? Once again, because you wanted to go someplace, and that's what it's about, many of these streamers ran from YouTube, it was about the money. Well, I can't monetize over here, so I'm going to go over here. You know, anytime you place money above your freedoms, you're going to lose. Anytime you place money above your freedom of speech, you're going to lose. Because every one of these platforms, YouTube, especially YouTube, they're about the advertisers. They make their money off the advertisers. They pay their bills, not us. Gab, same way. Gab done things a little different, I will admit. For the longest, they were funded by the people and grew that way. But once they got so far, they brought in outside investors. They all do, because I I've been there, guys. You know, some of you guys don't get that. I've been there. I've created websites, helped build platforms, and was read the riot act in a board meeting by 6 different lawyers about how things are going to be. That basically you're living in a fantasy world. Do you think you can have a freedom of speech platform? Yeah, that was almost 6 years worth of work just to blow up in my face in one board meeting. Okay, so we put our servers in another country. Well, we're subject to that country's laws and regulations. And guess what? You can be blocked. They can block people from America to access the Canadian servers or wherever you want to put them. The arm of our alphabet agencies and Congress extends worldwide. And so does every other country's government. You know, like I brought up about my representative from Ohio, Jim Jordan. Well, thus far, he's been all talk, no action. He came down, gave these long-winded speeches condoning what Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and all these places, Google, and they were doing, but that's just what it was, talk. There was never no action. Why? Because it's about controlling the information. The internet is nothing but the information highway. It was never meant to be controlled. It was meant to be free to everyone. You know, when I first started, came up with the idea, Sons and Daughters of Liberty channel, the first thing I said, this channel will not be monetized. I will not do no plugs for advertisers. I will not. To this day, I've been asked, well, we love your graphics. Why don't you sell some, make t-shirts and stuff? No. You want to know why? Because when I start doing that, I start giving other organizations and platforms say over the content I put. In order to avoid such headaches, I cannot accept any money from any individual entity out there. I cannot allow advertiser to control what I say. And I was quite clear in some of my descriptions at times. I am not advertiser friendly, and I am not. No one is. If you get down right to it, we're eventually going to say something that person that's paying for their content, their advertisements, they're going to disagree with. It can't never be about the money. And so many people out there, it's about for them. Well, I want to be able to go here, so I need to do like I do, work for it. If I wanted to, and believe me, I had the money put aside already to be in DC. I worked for it, but there's also priorities. You know, I've had teeth that needed to be worked on, done for a good 4 years now. I've been dealing with abscesses for the past two. You know what? That takes priority, my health. Especially in times like this where nobody knows where anything's going to go, what could happen tomorrow. The last thing I needed to worry about was dealing with an abscessed tooth and not being able to get medical treatment I needed to have it dealt with. So that money I had saved up for a little said trip went elsewhere. Something that was just as important. And those are the choices we got to make. Like I said, there's a price we pay for everything. That last video I did Sunday, I told people there's for every choice you make, there's going to be consequences. That is the price we pay. When we make choices, when we choose to say things, there's going to be backlash. There's going to be somebody that don't agree with what we say because they have a different opinion, a different view. Now, our job's not to judge them. Our job's to, all right, I don't agree, but I also haven't walked a mile in your shoes. I like talking about, well, I think the last time I had Sore Point 9 and Free Spirit Press News on, I think we disagreed on something. And we talked about it. There was no arguing, well, just the respect we have for each other. It's like, okay, I see your point. I don't see it that way. And that's how we do things, should do things. But we're so taught to be combative when a different opinion or view hits our fit. That, and we got to stop that. Or else the price we're going to keep paying is keep further divided, not being able to to unite on any common ground, there's always going to be a price we pay. You know, I'm one of those when I make decisions, I've already weighed the pros and cons and all the potential consequences that I can foresee. But there's still things that I cannot foresee. I might be ready for some of it, but there might be something that just comes out of nowhere that I did not foresee. Then it's up to my ability to how I'm going to react when that comes. For the last, since Wednesday, I've been wanting to open my mouth and talk. But having 8 teeth removed kind of puts a damper on flapping your gums. But that was a choice I chose because it had to be done. And you know what? Might have saved me from sticking my foot in my mouth a couple times. So there's always a blessing in disguise somewhere. But I cannot stand what I'm seeing now. I can't stand when basically our Congress has turned on the American people. If you were a Trump supporter, MAGA, you're the enemy now. And no, that's not how it's going to be. That's not how it's going to. The only real enemy is those who have violated the Constitution, violated the oaths they swore. You scream, you need censorship. Well, you just violated your oath. You have no right to even think about stripping any American citizen of their freedom of speech. You let these corporations dictate otherwise. Well, guess what? You're guilty. You've violated your oath because you should be telling these corporations you cannot do this. And if you're a judge that's going to be hearing future cases, you do this, you violated the very oath you swore. I know nobody wants to hear it. And it's up to us, we the people, to bring back checks and balances. It's about up to us to come together when we see these illegal crimes and acts and unite regardless of what that person's belief, label, opinion, and view is. Two wrongs don't make a right. When they try to go against our Constitution, that should be the rallying cry for every U.S. citizen, American citizen, we the people, brothers and sisters. That should be our rallying cry to come to their aid. It's funny how Congress wants to preach unity, but they're pushing division by saying, these are your enemies now. We need to completely remove a president, because he's still our president till the 20th. Like it or not, we need to strip him of his reach, strip him of his power. For what? You haven't liked the man since he took office. Well, I don't blame you. Because he rattled your cages so bad you shed your snakeskins and showed your true colors. And we sat back and enjoyed every minute of it. Did he do some things along the way that were questionable? Yes. But usually on those questionable things, he usually came back the next day and took them back. He listened to people that he surrounded himself with. Okay, that was okay, you're right. That's unconstitutional. I can't do that. But you best believe this next administration, when they take over on the 20th, they're going to come after everything. They ain't going to let what happened on the 6th ever happen. They have their way. That was the price. We paid for that. But it's a door I would probably tell them and highly advise them not to open because you will regret it. Because that's when you're going to piss off what remaining people that believe in you off. Because, like I said, mark my words, they're going to turn on Antifa. They're going to turn on BLM. You served your purpose. Now we're going to use you to go after every single individual's right to gather and protest. You're going to be the poster child for this. Because the truth is, for the most part, almost every MAGA rally was peaceful. It was people hugging, uniting as brothers and sisters, talking. The only time violence came around was when certain groups were busted. You know, they've been setting this up for a while. You know, here's my thing. How many people remember? Got to use your mind here. Got to shake the cobwebs off for a second. You guys remember when the congresswoman came out and told people you need to walk up if you see a Trump supporter or somebody wearing a MAGA hat, you need to walk up on them? How many Democrats said the same lines? Oh, but that was okay. They actually said more and enticed more violence than anybody else has. But it was okay for them to do it. Let's talk about hypocrisy and rhetoric. Let's talk about hatefulness. Do they truly hate the American people that much that they're going to do whatever they can to strip you of constitutional rights, to make you turn on each other? You know, they did it. They got away with it. But now it's not okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. The days of right, wrong, it's okay or not okay are out the window. When you violate your very oath, you're done. And that's when everyone needs to come together and demand them be removed from office. Hey, you want to impeach Trump? Go ahead. But you best believe anybody that was ever assaulted by a mob of people because they wore a MAGA hat has every right to come after that senator that opened her mouth and told people to do it. See, guys, there is a beauty to opening doors that you really don't want to open. You can do that to him, we can do that to you. You're not above the law. Congress, you are not above the law. In fact, you're held to a higher standard of the law than we are. You're supposed to be holding an office of trust. Guess what? We, the people, don't trust you. You've proven to be liars, greedy, whoremongering, corporate adulterers. All you care about is how much money you're going to make. I would love to know how many of our senators and congressmen and women are invested into these pharmaceutical pharmacies that are putting out vaccines. You know, I agree with something my friend said. They all should be wearing fire suits like NASCAR with all their sponsors on it, because that's what they are, which is illegal because that's bribing an elected official. When you bring them money and give them money, you're bribing an electoral official. I know we got 15 minutes to the before I got to restart, uh, re-put this link in. What I'm going to do for the next hour. Anybody who likes to wants to join, hop in or call in. I'll put the phone number in for the next hour. If you want to join me in the Gathering app on Minds, I'll give you the link, and we can continue further discussing things. Because right now, would love to have another person a co-host setting in with me, so I can let them do some talking. My jaw's really starting to hurt, and I'm just getting started. So, you know, where are we going to draw the line? I mean, I personally, the line was been drawn, and they done passed it a long time ago. You know, I know a lot of people don't want to speak out because they're afraid of, oh, I might get punished at my work. Well, guess what? If they do, you got a nice lawsuit. Unfortunately, yeah, I know it's expensive, and that's another problem. They made it so you can't get true justice. Then you might live in a state where, well, you're not going to get true justice anyway because of the people that are the judges that play politics and are not supposed to. You know, these are these choices and decisions we got to start making. I talk about community a lot because it starts in our community. It starts finding these next people that's going to take these offices that have the true values of upholding the Constitution as it is in black and white. You know, we got till 2024 to find a new set of congressmen and women in each of our states. New governors, new mayors, new state legislatures who are going to uphold our key values, who are going to realize that it's about we the people, not them, not some corporate fucking entity, not some business. You know, you want to talk about businesses. How about removing these restrictions and lockdowns and curfews before you kill off any more of our small businesses? You know, my thing was, quiet as they kept. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. Tell you what, I didn't watch that game today, and I'm not gonna root for them at all. Of course, I haven't watched football in a very long time anyway. But back in the day, the Bills was my team, even though they managed to let us down 4 years straight. But the stunt you guys pulled today, stunt that Como pulled, allowing people to go watch the game in one of the second most restricted states, the one that said you couldn't go to your churches. Nobody can come here to celebrate New Year's Eve, but it was okay to go to a football game. Uh-huh. Well, the joke's on you. Because you just showed your true colors once again. I'm going to attend the game. You just showed everybody that it's okay to be out in public. I'm so sick and tired of the fear games they've been playing, the fear propaganda that they've been pushing. But I get it. I understand it. It's needed. If you want To divide people, put them in subjugation, you got to make them fear you. Now, guess what? I don't fear you. Never have. Yeah, I don't fear no man because it's quite simple. I'm not going to give you the satisfaction or the power over me. I'm not no submissive. I'm actually very dominant and very stubborn in my ways. And I'm tired of watching people stand idly by and let things just slide. Because the more you let slide, the more they're taking from you. The more they're putting back those slave collars and shackles on you. You know, I seen a post from the Department of Defense bashing China for the religious persecutions and all that. The humanitarian atrocities. You know what? I couldn't resist. Really, you care more about what's going on in China than what's happening here in the United States? We have people being denied access to the places of worship. Department of State. You'd think they'd care more about putting America first and the problems we have than worrying about some third world communist country. But no, they never care about us. It's always, oh, where can we pick our next fight? Where can we distract more people? We've got the very same issues happening right here in our country right now. We got people being told they can't congregate in their churches. We got people now being told you can't be on this platform because you have this political view or you follow this person. We've probably seen one of the biggest purges to date on all the platforms around. And it's on several ones you might not even go to or think about. It's happening everywhere. That's like I said, it'd be interesting to see what Parler did. Did they remove people's content? I think they did. They're back up and running now, but can't prove it. You know, and here's the irony of that. People, I've seen so many tweets. I'm going over here. I'm going over here. I'm leaving, deleting this account. But yet the same thing's happening over there. Then you're just walking right back to another spot that's going to do the same thing. There should be no censorship of any kind. And it's sad that even our Supreme Court's been has ruled several times in the past. Even hate speech is protected. But there is a difference between hate speech and committing violence and crime. As long as it is speech followed by no action, it is protected. Once you commit an action that results in violence to another person or destruction of property, then a crime has been committed. That's how that's been ruled on. But yet people say, oh, and that was Gab's excuse. it was hate speech. Well, not really, but it wasn't hate speech. It was. They said it was projecting violence to everyone. What it was hate speech. It's a little clip and image they showed. It was hate speech. I won't deny that, but it wasn't depicting violence or calling for violence, which is a whole different topic. But yet they want to label anything. Me talking, disagreeing with our congressman, saying that they need to be removed, that what they're saying about insurrection is not correct. They could actually say I'm being hateful because I'm saying they're not doing their jobs. I'm saying they broke the law and oath. It's not hate speech. In fact, that's actually truth. But truth can fall under that category of one's perspective too. One man's truth is not another. Just like those. This is what we doing are righteous. Yep. I've read that, heard that throughout centuries of people calling their movement righteous. Well, guess what? It ain't righteous to everybody else. I don't like that word. You'll never hear me say my this or that because there ain't no cause that's righteous. Because somewhere, somebody else has a different view and a different opinion of what they think is righteousness. You know, and I actually want to commend all those that did go to DC. All those who went there, went through all the BS to be able to live stream these things, give people a different view than what mainstream media says, because that's important. That's something that we have to continue to fight for. People's freedom to be able to do that. You know, because it's getting to the point where we need that more people out there doing that now more than ever. Something that you know, commend all of them. I commend even the ones that go out there that have the different opinion that are solely out there because they have that right. I'm getting tired of being trying to put. You can only listen to this. This is only the realness. Yeah, well, why they call themselves entertainment at the bottom of the screen? No, I'm sorry. I knew about all that a lot before in the '90s. Yeah, like me and you discussed that, Brie. That section 5 there. That was another platform strategy, meaning saying you don't have no rights to the content you post up there. And guys, it is worth checking out, and it's also your due diligence. Any place you go on to become a member of, read their terms of service, read their rules and guidelines. Just like here on YouTube, read them because it's just not YouTube's rules and guidelines. They will refer you to Google's rules and guidelines as well. So you got to read more than one set in some cases. Now we pointed that out about D Live. How they frowned on political content. Just like I was hard on the mines about certain things, still am. Which I don't know if they're still doing or not. I haven't got a notification because more time working than I am doing anything. Their jury system, oh boy, that backfired on them. And I'm back. Like I said, you guys, for you guys don't know, the only drawback to using the Minds Gathering app when I reach that hour mark, they stop the live stream. It's just a matter of me recopying the stream key, putting it back in. I'm back live. So every hour it'll happen. Don't mind it. But like I said, this time I'm going to open things up a bit more for anyone that wants to partake and join in. I am going to post 2 links. And that is the dial in for those who want to call in and those who from the computer or stuff would like to just join inside the Gathering app. You can click on the link and it will bring you to the where I'm streaming from, and we can go from there. And I am going to message somebody, see if they would be interested in joining me. It is also, like I said, we can't. Oh, I'm sure they haven't updated the new TOS after this week. Like I said, it would be interesting to talk to people after what happened yesterday in the 24 hours that they were given to see what actions they actually took. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. But that's something that you guys need to understand on TOSs. They are subject to change without notifications. It's up to you to stop in pretty much all day and check to make sure they haven't made no changes. So they can make their changes now and it doesn't need to be posted for it to take effect. That isn't every TOS, believe it or not. I was even told I had to write it in the TOSs that I made for what we were doing a few years ago. And I hated every minute of it. Because I believe in being upfront, giving you due notice and due diligence to have a chance to have your say in the matter. But like I said, this podcast, the stream is opened up for anyone who wants to call in or anybody who wants to join me. definitely want to hear your takes and views of things that happened the past week. As for me, yes, I'm pushing more on the censorship because that's the most important thing right now. In my opinion, that's what they're going to come after first. They're coming after our freedom of speech. That is the most, if they can strip that away, then they have complete power over us. And I don't want to speak on things about what took place on the 6th because I wasn't there. Nor was I watching live streams because, well, yeah, 8 teeth is kind of painful, even on under sedative and painkillers afterwards. But, and I honestly believe that we need to go back to the way it was in the 90s with something called slander. When a news agency reported something that was wrong, they could be held accountable for slandering and be forced to make public retractions and apologies. We need to start getting back to those things because slander is still, part of it. When CNN, MSNBC, when they misquote something, they should be held accountable. You know, I'm not a big fan of Project Veritas, but I commend them on what they've done. I don't agree with some of their tactics, but hey, I guess the old adage is all's fair in love and war, right? What is good for the goose is good for the gander. I kind of disagree with some of their tactics. I'm not a fan of ambush tactics or subversions because you start doing that, you know better than the people that already do it. So, but they've been a good voice. They've been on top of it. They've gotten stuff made public and brought things to light that most others haven't. So, but it does eat at their credibility when they use certain tactics. And I'm sure the majority of you will disagree with me on that note, which is okay. Like I said, matter of perspectives. I have my own I have my own moral compass on how far I'm willing to go with things and how far I'm not. But be careful, don't push too far. If you back me in that corner, you're not gonna like it. Those that know me, you guys know, I do have a monster side. And I'm not scared to let it come out and play from time to time. And only a few of you have met the real monster, so. Now, it's like I said, this it's all about the prices we pay. You know, I've paid some good prices for allowing that monster to come out, let me tell you. There's been some harsh consequences to that one, which is a learning lesson. It's a learning lesson how to know thyself, discipline thyself. Makes you contemplate the consequences of choices. And that's something we each and every one of us have to do. We all knew, and I stated it, what, Sunday, whatever, was the 4th, 3rd, my bad. Sorry, 3rd shift. I had to work that night, so it was my 4th. When I did that podcast, I sat there and told everyone there will be consequences to the choices that are made on the 6th. And those consequences just not going to affect you, it's going to affect everyone. And yeah, for the most part, things went about the way I thought they were going to go. You know, that's why, there's even a price that we pay when we're not paying attention to what goes on in other states. Well, we live in Ohio. Who cares what's happening in Michigan and the surrounding states, or a state that's all the way out west or all the way on the East Coast? Well, there's a price to that notion because once a bill becomes law, it can be used by any court to become law in these other states. So yes, we have to be due diligent, paying attention to all the laws. In fact, a judge would tell you ignorance to the law is bliss. It is your due diligence to know the laws of your state, your federal laws. When they change, what has changed? It is up to you and your due diligence to know them. So they cannot not knowing the law is not an excuse. Much like not knowing your constitution should not be an excuse. That and no congressman or woman can say they do not know their constitution because they swear an oath to uphold and protect that constitution. When they fail to do so, they have violated that very oath that is supposed to be sacred to them. But they don't care. They spit right over it, walk on it. It's just a piece of paper that has no meaning to them. You know, sorry guys. Like I said, I was working on getting some people in on the stream, which I kind of figured it was going to be a little bit hard because I know some people just don't want to talk about certain things right now. And hey, I don't blame them. That's what I'm here for. If you can't, I can, and I will. It's another thing about our Constitution, us supposed to be brothers and sisters. We're supposed to stand up and defend those that can't defend themselves. Those that can't afraid to speak because they might lose their job. Well, thankfully, I don't have to worry about that part, but I know others that do. I know others that work in positions and places that, yeah, certain things they just can't talk about, and some cases it's probably best to distance yourself from people like me. I get it. But one of these days, even you will have to take a stand on that one. Make a choice. That is part of the price we pay. But for those that can't, there will always be people there that can and will for you. Now, one of my favorite stories, it's already covered in the first hour, about my descendant, John Rutledge, when he was told to abandon a fort and he refused. It was in South Carolina, that's where he was from. He says they can't take this fort. You know, he showed the type of guts he had, type of man he was. He was not going to abandon it, allow the British to get a foothold. And they held that fort, and the British couldn't take it. He was also the type, when he felt something was wrong, there was an injustice, he spoke out about it to the point he's to this day the only Supreme Court nominee not to be elected, put into the Supreme Court by Congress. Why? Because he was against the treaty with the British. He foresaw what it would bring, and he vehemently opposed it to the point many of his constituents started calling him a Jeffersonian. Because of the stance he took. You know, as history played out, his stance was probably the right stance. But he made some errors in a way that I disagree with. Because of him, we put blame on him. Because of him, our congressmen have no term limits. But back then, 13 colonies, 13 states, they some of them didn't foresee things getting out of hand and government getting as big as it would eventually get. The more states that got added, more people went, and they just didn't foresee people losing their way, turning their backs on the Constitution, turning backs on their country. They didn't see that they were just going to become just much like the British were back then. And we know there were loyalists back then that we allowed into Congress because we believed, we showed them the way, that they would see the right of ours. They would see how things were going to be different. And those loyalists never changed. Many of them never changed. They kept on doing it, fighting. I mean, throughout history, we can find where they, across the pond, it's interfered and done things they're not supposed to undermine us. We've seen, there's plenty of documentation going back to the Civil War. Well, we can't put guns on these ships, but we can build them for the Confederacy. But you guys can go clear down the Caribbean. We got guns and stuff over there, then we'll mount them over there under the guise of a different name, a different country. So therefore, technically, we didn't put the guns on. There's documentations about that. British has been a pain in our ass throughout forever. It's just not the British. We've got communists, we got fascists, and for those that many of you probably won't believe it, we've got fucking Nazis within our elected officials. Why? Because we brought them over here to train our alphabet gangs. Because people forget the other part of the history, the great race of World War II, the race to get to Berlin, to get the scientists, to get the leading head Nazis, SS, to bring them back to train our covert operations and stuff like that. Use their scientists to further ours, because stuff we were doing had regulations and laws. You know, history is so important. I will not shy away from pointing things out from history. Now, we've seen so much destruction of our history. Got to remove these monuments. You got to remove this. Why? Oh, because once they start purging this stuff, so much like you know freedom of speech, freedom of expression, they can start purging certain information. History may repeat itself, or will repeat itself. The ability to strip people of history, stripping their memory of it, might not be this generation, but the next two generations to come will not know why these monuments were here, what they stood for. You know, they use that. It's one of the catch-22. He's like, oh, you can't show the rebel flag. Unfortunately, they need to re-educate themselves about that rebel flag. It's been around a little bit longer than the Civil War. Thank you very much. But hey, no, that's taboo now. Not really. It's part of our history. You know, Stars and Stripe is part of our history. As much as it has changed over the years, the gaining of colonies, gaining of states, our our stars have grown from what was just 13 to what it is now. With that, so has our Congress. So has our state legislation. Certain states have laws that other states don't follow. Certain states have laws that violate our Constitution and federal laws, but they keep them on the books. I live in one such state that loves violating Supreme Court's decisions. Life is about choices. Many people just choose. Okay, whatever. It's not going to affect me. It doesn't affect me, guys. That's the wrong attitude to have because it does affect you. It affects you more than you may even realize. There for a while I was doing videos about broken systems, and all of those broken systems, the videos that I did do, they affect each and every one of us. There's a price we pay when we ignore certain things. There's a price we pay when we say, "Oh, that don't affect us," but yet it does. Your taxes go up. You're paying for it one way or the other, whether you realize it or want to admit it or not. When you tell people, they can't do this, when a state tells you can't have this right, you can't say this, you can't use this word. Oh God, don't get me started. The biggest outrage I had this week, Nancy Pelosi. What the hell are you thinking? You can't, and the rules you put in front of for the next session of the House, you can't say mother, daughter, father, grandchild, grandson. Let's talk about completely being and violating your very oath and violating the Constitution, telling people you can't say these words. Oh, but I get it. You're from the state of California, and you believe there's no consequences. They can't even with you. It's more of a democratic state. They're never going to vote you out. hmm Every dog has its day. And eventually, what you sow is what you're going to reap. Nancy Pelosi is destroying this country just as much as everyone else in our Congress is. And she's just been in your face doing it, and everybody just sits idly by, like, oh well. No, we gotta break ourselves of that attitude because the price we're gonna pay if we keep having that attitude, we're gonna keep losing more of our freedoms and liberties. Oh, hey, I'm striking out left and right today trying to get somebody on this podcast. You know, we're dealing with the ultimate form of censorship right now. The ultimate betrayal of our Constitution, the ultimate betrayal of what this nation's supposed to stand for. We are, I don't think people realize how good we got it. I don't think people realize how almost in every country, their citizens, their people look towards us as a beacon of hope. How they want and wish to have the freedoms that we have, that we so idly allow our Congress, federal government to strip from us. People are looking to us now. What are they going to do? You know, it's sad, honestly, and it's scary because if they can stomp out what our founding fathers set forth, the very last beacon of hope in this world will be snuffed out forever. And that right there falls on every brother and sister out there, every American citizen. We don't realize, sometimes I don't think any of us realize the true power we have. We don't realize how many people look towards us and cherish what we have. They hope and pray that one day maybe their state, country, their nation can have the same thing. That's why we are so hated around the world, because of our very freedoms and liberties. That's why Congress has fought so hard, so much discord and division to try to strip away and strip that from us. When are you guys going to wake up and see the truth? See what's right in front of you. You know, yes, I focus on what happens here more than I do anything, but I also don't forget what we are. I don't forget that we are the beacon to the world. We're a beacon of hope. That's what draws people here. They want to come here to have, that American dream that our Congress has done so good enough to snuff out. But yet I still see it from time to time. I see it in people like Ryan Upchurch. Refuses to take a record label. Turns record contracts down left and right. He's self-made himself. This is a person that is true Americana. He's turned himself and made himself what he wanted to be, using this platform and other platforms to push his music, his content, his art, to where now he sells his own music, no record label. He goes on tour, does venues. That's part of the American dream, guys. Being able to do that and not having nobody to tell you, no, you can't say this, you can't write these lyrics. No, you can't be a country rap singer. He proved them wrong. And there's many stories out there like that. There's many people that's used these platforms to finance themselves, make a living, have an extra income coming in. But first time they go against the status quo, well, there goes your freedom. There goes your money. There goes your American dream. It's all about control. They can control your everyday instincts, your desire to be free of such things, free of record labels, which is corporation. I mean, that's what makes it so hard on the small business owner that wants to build a restaurant for his community. The hoops they got to go through, the licensing that they have, the taxes that they got to pay. They make it so it's so hard for that small business to even succeed. Then along comes the pandemic, and what do we see? The ones that are already struggling aren't there no more. They had this American dream of creating their own business, becoming entrepreneurs, taken from them like it wasn't nothing. And what do they get in return? Nothing. Unemployed, farther in debt is exactly what they want. You know, what's going to happen to these social media or social platforms? Not media, my bad. Social platforms. They're going to become stagnant and one-sided as social media. They're going to control the information, and that will be the only information allowed on their platforms. Anybody that goes against the status quo, has a different view and opinion, will no longer be welcome. And eventually, they're going to push this on every platform. How much control do you want to give? How much power do you want to give another person over information that's supposed to be free to anybody that wants to listen to it? You know, there's a price that we pay when we turn a blind eye to such a thing, or when we fuck it, I'm going to be the follower and follow everybody else that migrates off you before I get nuked, suspended, shadow banned, or whatever may happen. The more that do it, there's strength in numbers, but there's also leaving people behind to fend for themselves without support. You know, like I said, and I've stated this before, I'm not leaving Facebook, I'm not leaving YouTube, I'm not leaving Twitter, because we need people there. We need to stop running and taking a stand. Oh, okay. I can just create another account, and by the way, I've got multiple accounts on most of these platforms, so you nuke one, another one, I got another one ready to go. It's just a reason why I don't put any, people get caught up in the number game. I gotta have all these followers. I gotta have all these likes, all these shares, all these views. Why? I've done videos upon videos showing that the numbers here don't add up anyway. But they get caught up in that, believing that, oh, my content ain't getting seen or viewed. Trust me, your content's getting seen and viewed. It's just not being shown up in your analytics. You know, like before I go live, this video was shared on 10 different platforms, and it'll increase from there as I get time later to just upload the video itself. So I have various different audiences from various different places. And I can go look at each site's analytics and it won't match YouTube's. So yes, our videos and our things are getting out there. So I don't pay attention to the numbers. I don't care about them because that's another way they mess with your heads. Get into your minds. It's a mind game. They can use that. This is not worth it. I'm going to stop. Nope. I'm that stubborn SOB who never stop. I just will not bow down. Sorry. And I'm not sorry. I mean, because that's my rights. It's my liberty. It's my freedom. I should never have to bow down to anyone. I have the right to say what I want, when I want. If you don't like it, change the channel. Watch something else. Move right along. See? That's your choice. And plus I get a thrill of you hit the thumbs down button. Cool. Damn, I made somebody think I did my job. So that's what part of this is. Making you think, making you question things. Am I right all the time? Hell no. We all make mistakes. We all misinterpret things. We all have our perspectives and opinions and views. And we're subject to misstate something, or we might not just view it that way. It's up to you to formulate your own opinion, your own view, your own perspective of things. That's why I always have my chat open because I interact with it. You know, interact with people when they come on, let them talk, let them hear their side of the story, not get in no argument about it, because it's important to have all your views and opinions out there, no matter they differ. And that's something they've tried to teach us. You can't have a different opinion. You can't have a difference and have a good conversation, intellectual conversation. Well, yes, we can, because we're supposed to be learning from each other. You know, your different opinion might make me question something that I have opinion on, and I'll go research it. And I might change my opinion because I might see, oh, yeah, okay, I didn't, okay. Because sometimes we'll take things in at that time it was right. It was what we needed to hear. Then there's sometimes we'll take things in and it's like, oh, I disagree. I don't want to hear it, even though we probably needed to hear it. And something will come up later down in life, few months down the road, year, couple, and you'll remember that. Oh, that's what he was talking about. Damn. Well, maybe just at that time point in your life you weren't ready to hear that. But it's called planting seeds. The seed was planted to where when you were ready to hear that, something would occur and happen, and that seed would sprout forth. And hello, it's like, oh man, I was so wrong. Why didn't I see that then? But that's being free thinkers. That's what they try to strip from us. They don't want us to have any individuality. They don't want us to think for ourselves. So they want to restrict the words we can say or use. You can't say mother, you can't say father. You know, you can't say patriot. Oh no, you're a patriot. That's bad. That's evil. So they restrict us. They find ways to divide us. And they find ways to subcategorize us with labels. Funny how that works. I had somebody ask me, well, what are you? What's your political stance? Like, well, I'm me. I'm going to vote for the person that I see and have researched that has upheld my Constitution, that's fought to uphold the Constitution. A set of lips will say anything, and most politicians, anything coming out of their set of lips are lies, deceits, and illusions. Trying to sell you a fairy tale, and when they get in the office, they do the opposite. We see that time and time again from both sides of the aisle. No, I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I am no label. I am me. I make my choices and decisions based on your actions, your deeds. Actions will always speak louder than words. I will judge you based on those merits, based on your actions. How do you uphold yourself? Do you uphold yourself differently on a podcast than you do out in public? Mm-hmm. See, it goes for all sets of life. Most people would judge my friend Lucas. He's a young 20-year-old, so yep, he don't know nothing. He ain't educated. He don't know his history. He's lazy. You know what? That young 22-year-old is more mature, educated, and harder worker than most 30-year-olds I know and met. He knows right from wrong. He's pointed things out that most people missed. How is a state that every county was red except for 3 counties, which just happen to be 3 cities? How does that change the vote? From only 3 blue counties, 3 blue cities, changed the whole of the rural county. He's like, something ain't right there. How many of you overlooked that? You know, and it's simple how that happens. Well, it's not simple, but people that are more in the rural communities, they're your everyday factory workers, farmers. They work their asses off to barely make ends meet. Now but the city folk, well, they go to their high plush business offices, higher paying jobs. Not always, because we can't forget, there are some that's making minimum wages, and the corporate markets like Macy's, the stores, the franchises. They're just your everyday workers. But your major cities, which usually tend to stay predominantly blue, are because of all the upper class, your doctors, your lawyers, your politicians, your successful entrepreneurs, which, the demographic outnumbers the poor, the middle class, the upper class. There's more of it. That's why, you have take your city, take an average city, how's it broken down? It's broken down to the city, the suburbs, the outskirts of the city, and it's basically broken down by class. It takes us back to that ugly word caste system. We still live in a caste system society where we are separated segregated, if you'd like to use the term, by our label. We're middle class. We're blue collar workers. We're white collar workers. We're upper class. We're lawyers. We're doctors. One of these days, we're going to learn that the caste system just does not work. And no matter what label you cover it up with, it's still a caste system. And our government loves the caste system because I think they are better than us. They are the elites. They are the ones in control. They're the ones in power. Oh, wait. That power and control is illusionary because we are the ones that's supposed to be in control of our House, our Senate. Mm. You know, that's why I said there could never have been an insurrection on the Capitol building because, sorry, we, the people, own the Capitol building. It is ours. It is not those who reside inside it and make laws. It is we, the people. We have the right to be inside that building when legislation is being discussed or passed. So, don't fall for the word games. Don't fall. Don't be follow the leader and abandon these sites. If you haven't been suspended, banned, stay. Keep using your voice because if you keep running, they keep winning. Sorry, that's just the facts. I've said this before. Every time there's a censorship issue, I've said this. If you keep running, we are just divided. We cannot stand. A house divided will not stand. It will fall. Running to these other platforms have never been the answer. Taking the stand's been the answer. Coming together. But apparently, yet again, another round of purges, and people haven't figured it out yet. Oh, no, we're going to run to Gab, completely overlooking the fact that Gab suspended people in the past. We're going to run to D Live. Oh, wait, they just took down a bunch of videos and suspended people. You know, and here's how popular Gab's becoming this week. They gotta fire up 10 new servers to keep up with the demand of people they got coming in. Well, those 10 new servers are expensive. I like to see where their financing is coming from and if they how many more people they're going to restrict that have different views and opinions. Like I said, you do it once, you're more like we do it again, and fuck, when you do it twice, you expect me to believe you that you're a free speech platform? Go fuck yourselves. Sorry, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, but you will not fool me a third time. Like I said, action speaks louder than words, so their actions has showed that they will. And they admitted it today, so thank you. And you deleted your tweet, damn. Or you blocked me, one of the two, I didn't look. Because quite frankly, I don't care. But I'm going to call you out for what it is. You know, for all the problems people said on YouTube, you know what? I'm still standing. Never had a strike on this channel. I say what I want, speak my mind. Never had a video removed. But I do a lot of things different than most of you. I don't chase after followers. I don't try to grow my channel. Why? Because I'm on all these other platforms. I don't need to grow this channel. This video's on right now 10 different channels being viewed and watched by various people from around the world. And that's what it's all that matters. It doesn't matter about what the numbers here say. Because they're going to conflict with the numbers on every other site. If you don't believe me, go find the videos. They're somewhere in the 200 plus videos I've done. I've already broke this down time and time again. I've had more trouble out of Facebook than I've ever had trouble out of Twitter. And I'm very vocal on Twitter when I want to be. I've been put in Facebook jail more times than I can count anymore. So I've never had a problem on the mines. You know, I have a BitChute account, but it's not really worth it for me because it takes forever to upload a video, and I've got crappy internet connection anyway, so it takes even longer for me to upload a video. So the BitChute's never been the answer for me. But all my videos, well, except for the last few I've done, which I'll take care of that over the coming week, is on the Internet Archive. Imagine that, right? I download every video I do as soon as it's done, as soon as I'm able to, I download it and go upload it on the video archive. So when if and when the day comes, I get nuked over here. Guess what? I still have my videos, and it's simple to switch out links. I just need a place where I can get a link. And guess what? I'm back in action. I might not be able to do live videos, but I can still put content out. It takes forever to upload it. You're not going to stop me. That's my mentality. That's my stance. I will not bow down. I will not let you strip me of my freedom of speech and liberties. I will talk about the things I want to talk about. If you don't like it, well, as my favorite saying of late is, you can set and spin. When you reach the elbow, the ride's over. Because that's my constitutional right, my freedom of speech, my freedom of expression. I actually seen a comment that I had to laugh at. And this is how bad we're divided, guys. I get it. Some people, they can't stand pornography. But, that case was long fought in the Supreme Court, and it was won for freedom of speech and freedom of expression. I actually seen somebody make the comment on Twitter, but you won't suspend a Pornhub account. These Pornhub models that are on here that have accounts. Well, they shouldn't. They have every right to their freedom of expression and freedom of speech. Now, if you find it very distasteful, like many do, don't view the content. Don't go looking for it. Because it's not going to pop up in your feed unless somebody you follow shares it. So that tells me some people got plenty of free time, too much free time on their hands. They're just looking for things to point out. That's not helping our cause. That's further dividing us. That's, once again, you're helping what all these congressmen and senators are doing by trying to divide us. We're all brothers and sisters. We all got to work somewhere. Don't really care what you're doing, as long as it's legal. Who am I to tell somebody how they can make their money? Well, oh wait, let me rephrase. I'm not a corrupt, tyrannical congressman that's going to tell you how to make your money. You have your freedom of choice to how you're going to make your money, as long as it's legal. No, I have not. I don't care for anything that's criminal. And yes, there is some things that are very criminal that should not be allowed. But, that's the problem. Sometimes we misinterpret what is criminal and what is constitutional. We want to put blame at somebody because they have a different opinion or views, or they have a different way of making their money that offends you. You want to say that's criminal, that they don't deserve that right. Well, sorry, they do. And they use this tactic all the time to further divide us and pit us against each other. you know, the bottom line is, in closing, because my fucking jaw's killing me, that they couldn't get anybody else to come on and talk. No matter who you are, what you do, we're all brothers and sisters. We all have this thing called the Constitution that gives us our rights, our freedoms, our liberties, our rights to free speech, our right to freedom of religion, the right to be who we are, no matter what our race, our religious backgrounds, our political views are. We're all brothers and sisters and are all equal under the Constitution. We'll have people say, oh, we're not equal. Well, why aren't you? You have the same rights I have. And I'll tell you what, if somebody tries to tell you you don't have those rights, I will be the first one to stand beside you and say, yes, you do. We got to stop letting them push the seeds of discord and division. We got to stop letting them use race, ethnicity, sexuality, gender to divide us and separate us. We got to stop letting them from using religion. We got to stop them from telling you you can't have a free voice to speak your mind. I don't care what your opinion is and view. If they come after you saying you don't have the right to say those things, I may completely disagree with you, but I'll stand beside you on the grounds that you have every right to say those things, even though I may disagree with what you say. That's what our mentality is supposed to be. That's what our values are supposed to be. When it's all said and done, we can go on our merry little way. But you're a brother and you're a sister, and you have the right to be defended when your liberties are under attack, no matter what they are. If it's part of the Constitution says you have those rights. We have that due diligence to stand beside you and support you and fight for you. And that should be your mentality for every single person, no matter what their race, creed, color, religious background, gender is. Stop letting them divide us. They want to preach unity. Yes, let's jump on that bandwagon. Let's unite. Not for them, for our sake, for our nation, for every country out there that looks up to us as a beacon of hope. That is our due diligence. That's what our founding fathers fought for. You guys enjoy your week. Enjoy the freedoms that you have. Keep fighting for each other and take a stand. You guys all have a good night.